Hello everyone, Miss Silla here, Learn to Grow. Today I'm going to go over 23 crops, including a couple of herbs that we can plant in our fall gardens, but we'll also carry on through the winter months, especially the cold hardy ones. Oh, it's a yellow jacket right here. So I'm going to actually go in the garden, show you what I have growing so far already. I actually sowed some lettuce seeds over the weekend, so they are starting to sprout. And the weather has cooled down here a bit. It's in the 50s now in the nighttime, although today it's around 70, 75 degrees. I had to pause there for a moment. The yellow jacket keeps flying around me and actually almost went on my shoulder. But anyways, so what you want to do is plant crops that will mature at a faster rate. So for instance, lettuces, spinach, even bush beans, peas, zucchini, all those plants will mature within about 65 to 70 days. So if you plant them now and sow them in the ground, you'll get a nice harvest right before the first frost. But also some of the plants such as the brassica family, you want to probably start them indoors or buy some plant starts because they will require at least 10 to 12 weeks to mature, and since the days are getting shorter, they are not going to be growing as fast as they were growing during the spring and summer months when the days are longer. So we're going to go around the garden and show you what I have started so far, and that's going to be 23 total crops. Some of these crops I don't have planted yet, but I'll just go ahead and just tell you what they are. But first thing first is peas. I actually started some or germinated them in a bag of paper towel, damp paper towel inside a plastic bag, which speeds up the germination rate because the squirrels, they just love to dig up our seeds, and it takes me at least 3 to 4 times before the peas actually sprout because they just dig them up and eat them and then bury them somewhere else. So I went ahead and placed them in a bag here, and also I placed some peas in a cup of water and left them there for a couple of days, and they sprouted within a couple of days. So it gives you a great head start, which speeds up the process. So these peas are looking great. So anyways, let's take a walk in the garden and see what we have going or growing, and we'll go over the rest of the plants. So number one are peas, snap peas, Oriental peas, whatever peas that you like. They actually do really well in cooler weather, and they will germinate between 40 degrees to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So I went ahead and dug up a shallow furrow, and we're going to bury the peas about an inch deep. Generally, you want to bury them about 2 to 3 times the thickness or the width of your seed, and make sure to add some compost in there if you haven't yet before planting. Second crop, lettuce. You can slowly harvest the lower leaves within about 45 days after sowing the seeds, and you can continually harvest the leaves before the first hard frost. So here are some lettuces that I sowed about only 5 days ago, and they're already sprouting. So if it's still pretty warm where you live, make sure to put a shade cloth over your seedlings so that way they don't get scorched by the sun. So I'm going to go ahead and sow some Paris Island Cost lettuce seeds. And you do not need to cover the seeds with soil. In fact, lettuce seeds need a little bit of light to germinate. So you just want to sprinkle that in a row. You can always thin it out later. And just pat them down so they don't get blown by the wind if it's windy, just like that. And just make sure to keep the soil moist. Again, place a shade cloth over your seeds and seedlings to keep them from drying out. Third crop are some beans. I've got some bush beans here, so you can actually start sowing some more seeds, and they usually mature in about 60 to 65 days. Just plant them in full sun so that way they can grow quicker. Number 4 is an herb, cilantro. Cilantro is actually pretty cold hardy. My cilantro grew throughout the winter months last year all the way down to about 13 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is a great cool weather crop. It actually does better in the cooler months, so it does not tend to bolt as quick as it usually does in the summer. Number 5 is another herb. This is parsley. So any kind of parsley, if you live in a milder climate, they will grow throughout the fall and winter months, and in the spring or next season will start to bolt and produce some seeds for you. Number 6 are cucumbers. So I did have a late start on cucumbers this year because the squirrels kept digging up my seeds. But cucumbers generally mature in about 65 to 75 days depending on the variant. And even if you plant the smaller variety like a pickling cucumber, those will mature quicker. So cucumber is another great plant or crop that you can plant right now. Sow the seeds right now and you can get a fall harvest. Number 7, kale. This is actually a dinosaur kale that I believe crossed with another kale variety or colored plant. Usually lacinato or dinosaur kale do not get this wide, but it has the same texture. I think it's just so beautiful. So kale is another cool weather crop that can be grown in the fall and winter months. In fact, it can tolerate temperatures down all the way to about 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Same thing with the rest of the brassica family. These plants tend to produce more sugars to protect itself from the cold earth so that way it can withstand cold temperatures. Kind of like an antifreeze. So kale. Number 8, cabbages. So these are the ones I planted earlier on this year. These are red cabbage. Now, if you haven't started them indoors from seeds, you might want to pick some starts from your local garden center or nursery. You want to start them from seeds indoors about 10 to 12 weeks away from your first day of frost. That way it gives them enough time to mature. Remember, the days are going to be shorter, so they're not going to grow as fast as they did in the spring and summer months. Number 9, zucchini. You can start harvesting the zucchini when they're about 7 to 8 inches long. Sometimes I actually grow them bigger because I use them for baking, but this will mature between 65 to 70 days depending on the variant. You can also plant the yellow zucchini types. I actually have one that's the round zucchini. They're so cute. So first time growing the round zucchini here. Let me give you a closer look. Look how cute this is. Cannot wait to harvest these. Now, one thing about this variant is I noticed that it has these light or lighter shades on the leaves. Some of the squash plants do have these lighter spots on the leaves, but it's not powdery mildew. So I actually had a couple people ask me about it or thinking it was powdery mildew, but it's not. Remember, powdery mildew kind of looks fuzzy and the whole leaf is usually covered with that. So anyways, just want to show you that. So I'm going to go ahead and plant some more of this round zucchini. It matures in about 45 days, so it's perfect. We'll get a nice little harvest before it gets too cold. So seed depth is about 2 to 3 times the width or the thickness of your seed. So I usually plant zucchini and other squash seeds about 1 inch deep. So I normally sow a couple of seeds per mound or per planting hole, just to give me a higher chance of germination rate. And you want to space them out at least 36 inches apart. I'll put the other 2 seeds over this way, so it's about 3 feet apart. And don't forget to amend your soil with some organic worm castings or compost. All of these plants are heavy feeders, so you want to make sure you give them enough nutrients so that way they can produce for you. Number 10 is amaranth. This is the red amaranth plant. This one got really tall. I did not expect this to be this tall. I think it's like 8 feet tall at least. It's taller than my trellis back there, and that trellis is about 5.5 feet tall. Look at that. So I'm going to be getting lots of seeds. So you can keep the seeds, you can grow microgreens from them, and I know some people eat them. They're a very good source of protein and other nutrients, and the birds like them. Number 11, collard greens, another cool weather leafy green that can withstand temperatures all the way down to about 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And what's great about collard greens and kale plants is that they are biennial, so they'll keep producing until the following season or spring, and that's when they tend to bolt or flower and produce seeds. Now sometimes they will keep just producing leaves. I've had kale plants that actually lived for about 4 or 5 years almost, and they just didn't really bolt. And I had them for that long. So this is a nice leafy green to grow and fairly easy. They're not very picky with soil, and they're also good as a summer crop. They can withstand drought. The next 4 crops are root crops. I don't have any growing right now. It's a little too warm for the radish, carrots, so I'll be sowing those in the next couple of weeks when the temperatures cool down some more. Today is actually, it's gotten pretty warm, about 78 degrees. So carrots, radishes, and parsnips can be sown later towards the end of the month of August. And if you want to plant some beets or sow some beets, you can sow them right now. Number 16 is spring onions. So it's another cool weather crop. So sow the seeds now and you'll be harvesting some delicious green onions or scallions. Former crops from the brassica family are cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and or kohlrabi. So you want to start those as soon as possible. Get them into the ground. If not, buy some start so that way you can get a good head start because they will take a little bit longer to mature than your other crops such as leafy greens. And 3 more leafy greens to plant towards the end of the month when it starts to cool down are arugula, mustard greens, any of the mustard family like mitsuna is great, and also spinach. And also bok choy. I almost forgot about bok choy. It's actually one of our favorite leafy vegetables, so it's another great crop to add to your list. And lastly, garlic. Don't forget to plant your garlic a few weeks before the first day of frost. So the latest you can plant your garlic is 2 weeks before the first day of frost. Don't wait later than that. You want to plant them early enough so that way the roots can become established. And you want to also plant the bigger cloves because the cloves are a clone of that garlic that you harvested. So this is one of our nicer sized garlic bulbs, so I'm going to be saving these cloves for planting in October. So yeah, get those garlic cloves in the ground at least a couple of weeks or more before the first day of frost. I think it's actually 25 crops altogether. So I hope that you guys found this video helpful. There's a couple bonus for you guys, and let me know what you guys are planning on planting for your fall garden. We'd love to hear from you guys, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and happy gardening. Bye bye.